Good morning, everybody. I hope everyone is having a fabulous Easter or Passover or Sunday. Welcome to my 9th Glaze Fire kiln opening. I have not peeked yet, so you're seeing what I'm seeing for the very first time. Okay. So, I did prop the lid open earlier this morning and pulled the plugs. So this is the top shelf. Looks like we made it over a cone 6 there. And I just want to kind of explain something about cones because, let me get this straightened out here. Okay, so these are what is called pyrometric cones, and each one represents a different level of doneness, if you will, and they are made to melt and bend over with a certain amount of heat work. So when people say I fire to 2185 or whatever, they're not talking about just going up to that temperature, because take, for instance, if you bake a cake. If you take the cake and you put it in an oven at 350 degrees, it doesn't bake instantly at that 350 degrees. Even if you put it in a cold oven and heat the oven up to 350 degrees, the cake doesn't bake just because the oven is 350 degrees. It has to have the heat work, which means it has to be at that temperature for a given length of time for all of the chemical reactions to take place before the cake is actually done. So, that being said, ooh, I'm loving that. This is a Graffito Vase that I did, and I mixed the slip, and if you look back at my earlier videos, this was like a baby blue color. But what I did was I mixed vivid blue and black until I got the color saturation that I wanted. And this is all clear glaze over it. And the bottom is unglazed, and this is on porcelain. So this was a test to get the design right for some pieces that are further down in the kiln. Okay. This I am really happy with. This is my daughter's bunny, Buford. And again, practicing sgraffito. So what I did was I took black slip and put it over the whole thing from here to here. And then I traced some pictures of Buford on here, and then used the pictures as a guide to carve out the designs and capture those poses and hopefully capture some of Buford's wonderful personality. And then this is John Britt's seafoam green that I put inside and on here, and then I just kind of lightly touched some of the background to give it that kind of mottled effect. Truth is, when I was brushing it on here, some of it dribbled down, so that's how I fudged it. So, anyway, there is Buford. I don't know if you can catch right in here where the clear and the seafoam were overlapping. That made some really awesome effects. I really like that. I hope my daughter and my grandbunny are happy with this, because it is going to them in the next care package that goes out. Okay, piece number 2. This is a bowl that I did with Mocha Diffusion. Ooh, got some little action going on there. And I was trying different oxides. This is obviously cobalt. I think this was tin. It didn't do very well. Chrome. I forget what the fourth oxide. That's what it was, iron oxide. That gave a cool effect. Kind of metallic right in there. And then floating blue on the inside, and obviously I was a little thin there. Didn't dip it properly. All right, this is a face jug that I made as a recreation of a face jug from history. And his name is Squire Pofu, and I will post on my page the entire report that I did on the face jugs. Maybe I'll do a video report on it because it's a very interesting story. And on the bottom I wrote, "Lest we forget," because these face jugs were made by slaves predominantly back in the mid to late 1800s. And the significance of the black in the eyes is that it represents blindness. So Squire Pofu was probably a blind person. Okay, now we have this little bowl, and I was testing Butterscotch Opal and licorice in that glaze. Am I holding it where you can see it? I like the way that those two play together. Butterscotch Opal is an interesting glaze all on its own, but it does well when it's combined with others. It really gives some cool effects. And this one I was playing with splitting the rim and folding it in like that and under. That was a fun little bowl, little trinket dish. Okay, these didn't stick, that's good. So what these are lids for a travel mug. I've already decided that there's some ways that I need to improve, and this crack was already there before, but it does not go all the way through. Again, playing with these to test what works and what doesn't work, and I will show you how they fit inside of the actual mugs as soon as I get this shelf out. So that was level 1. On level 2, I think we got to a cone 7 here. Again, I see some thin floating blue there. Maybe I didn't stir the glaze enough. My Steampunk Teapot looks like it did well. And these guys are the travel mugs. So let's pull them out and see what we have. Let me get this setting down where it won't fall and where you can see what's going on. Maybe turn it just a little bit here. Okay. We'll start with the travel mugs, I guess. So this is one of the travel mugs. It is, I did not glaze the bottom, by the way. There's my signature. And the way these will work is there will be a gasket that goes in here, and they will fit inside like this. Now, one of the things that I did not do is I didn't put a lip in here to keep the lid from going in too much. Another way that I can handle that is to bring this out a little bit so that it sits on this rim, and then I would probably want to thin this just a little bit. And in the future, I think what I'll do is wipe away from right here instead of right here. I can sand this, but this area right here was unglazed, and it feels just a tad rough. I will sand that and smooth it. Porcelain, raw porcelain can be buttery smooth after it's fired. So that's how that would work. And it would seal with that silicone gasket, and then you can drink out of it, and it's small enough here to fit in a cup holder in your car. Okay. So let's move these out of the way so I don't break anything. This is travel mug number 2. It's one of the first, this was the first travel mug that I did. And I was going to go with wide and narrow lines, but I didn't like my wide lines. But it does add a little bit of interest, breaks up the little twigs there. And this is travel mug number 3. I just went for the abstract look on that. I'm not sure I like it. I'm not sure I dislike it. It's one of those that you have to kind of live with a little bit and see if you like it or not. But everybody's taste is different. So I'm always amazed that something I absolutely hate, somebody else absolutely loves. So we'll see what happens. Now this guy here, going back to the face theme, this is Skippy. And he didn't turn out quite like I expected. I had put something called Ginger's Pageant hair back here to give him a different color hair. And it didn't get as brown. The glaze had hard panned, and I should have spent more time. But I was running out of time getting ready for work. You see his little red tongue in there? Can you see that? I don't know how he got brown on his nose. That looks like a booger. Anyway, there's Skippy. This is Butterscotch Opal here, which worked pretty well for the skin tone, except he's got, like, I don't know, leprosy or something. Anyway, got a ponytail for a handle. There's Skippy. I have another face mug that I haven't fired yet. Again, the floating blue was kind of thin on this. You could see where it was thicker there. I will probably refire this. This is just a little porcelain bowl. So I'll probably refire it. It's sealed, I mean it's vitrified. And you can feel that there is glaze on this. It just isn't, I don't know. It's kind of actually cool looking. I might leave it like it is. We'll see. We shall see. Okay. Steampunk Teapot. And I was hoping that this is licorice glaze on here. I wanted to get a mottled effect on this. And so I dabbed places of clear on the outside. It's got the clear on the inside. And this is Kitten's Clear from Glaze. Holes didn't seal up inside. That's a good thing. And my hole didn't seal up in the lid. That's a good thing. Uh-oh. I might have to do a little bit of buffing. I'm not going to force that. I might have to get my Steampunk stone out and just smooth that down a little bit so that fits, because I don't want this to break. But you can see the threads there and a chunk there, like it's a plug, a cap. And on the handle, I've got little squares there like you would put a wrench on. So I'm kind of happy with how that turned out. It was a fun test of taking different pieces and morphing them and making something other than what you start with. Oh, yeah. Okay. And lastly on this shelf, I have got some of the Mocha Diffusion. This is cool how it turned green, but it has the metallic there. That's actually pretty cool looking. I will have to take my Steampunk stone and smooth some of this out because it's a little bit rough. Of course, the inside is just clear glaze. And got a nice comfortable handle. You can get a good hand in there. Got a thumb rest. signature on the bottom. Okay. Then we have this one, which I'm not as thrilled with this. Either I didn't have the slip wet enough or I didn't have enough acid in the mix. So the way you do Mocha Diffusion is you paint your piece with wet slip. Coat it thoroughly with wet slip. And while the slip is wet, you take an oxide or colorant in an acidic base, and the slip being alkaline, the acid hits it and it spreads out like this. And it can make a feathery look or a tree look. And it depends on your acid and how wet your slip is as to what effect that you get. And there's one more of these. And this one was with red iron oxide. And that turned out kind of cool. And when I dripped the oxides on, I had them obviously this way so that it ran down and spread out. I was hoping to get more of a tree effect, but that didn't happen. So still, it's interesting. It's not your normal glaze. Just a fun thing to play around with. I'm having fun experimenting with different techniques and finding out what works for me and what doesn't. All right. This is our cone pack. Can you see? You can't see that. That's the cone pack. So this was cone 4. No, I'm cone 5, cone 6, and cone 7. We were going for a cone 6, which it looks like we hit cone 6 pretty good on that shelf. The cone 7 may have been leaning a little much. When you make your own cone packs like that, it can be difficult to get a truly accurate reading. But I can tell you, it does not look like we overfired. If we did, it wasn't by much. All right. Put these shelf supports away. And take the shelf out. I don't see any major disasters down here either. Life is good today. Uh-oh, I do see one. But that's all right. We'll see what happened. Okay, so this is our bottom shelf. That little lid was on a stilt and it looks like it slipped. This is our cone in the kiln sitter and it fired properly. Okay, and you can see our cone pack down here. Looks like we fired to a good solid cone 6 also, which is good because sometimes this bottom shelf will underfire. All right, let me stand this back up. And adjust the camera just a little bit. Now, teapot time. I am uber happy with how this turned out. This is for a friend. Actually, a friend and his wife for their anniversary. And it is the clay anniversary. And it's clear inside. None of the holes filled up. Can you get that angle? I don't know if you can. Yeah, none of the holes right here filled up. The spout looks good. I'm hoping that'll cut the tea off well. Little hearts on the handle. And I have 2 lid options. That's the first lid. And good, it didn't stick to the shelf. Oh, it did. And it, nope, this is not gonna work. Do not do stilts with porcelain. Okay, good thing I did 2 lid options. Okay then. Yeah, you can see right there where it stuck to the shelf just a little bit. Got some dunting. But that stilt is toast and that lid is toast, but it would have fit like that. But that's okay, because I think I like that. Always have a backup plan, right? And if that's the only thing that goes wrong today, I'm going to be a happy camper. All right. Teapot can go in here. Next. And Deanne, if you're with me, thank you, Valerie. Good morning, happy Easter. Deanne, if you're with me, let me see if I can find. Oh, this is something I've been excited to see. Can you see it with the glare? I don't know if I can stop the glare, but this is a scene that Deanne Lee took a picture of. It was a thunderstorm at night. Let me see. Wow. Nope, I'm not going to get rid of glare. I'll put some better pictures on the internet, but the clouds in the background are lit up by lightning. There's water that's reflecting it, and there's trees in the thunderstorm. And oh man, did that turn out well. I am so super happy with that. There's my signature on the bottom. This shelf has a lot of stuff on it, a lot of mugs. This is the other thunderstorm scene. This was the first one that I did. And this is on porcelain. I think the other one was on B-Mix. And the trees are just painted with slip that I used Mason stain to color. And did various shades of gray on this one. The other one I used a little blue also. But I think they both turned out really well. And this down here at the bottom, if you can see right there, is the Roman numeral for 2022, which is the year that I made these. So MMXXII, and I kind of squished the two M's together. Oh, not a train. Okay. This, believe it or not, this was blue slip on here. Well, maybe it was black. I'll look back at the videos. It sure looks black. Anyway, I did a little cobalt in the carving, like Mishima. Just put a little cobalt oxide in there. So just some abstract flowers. Did I say I hate trains? And there's that. So this had green slip on the outside, and then I took some cobalt, and you could just see, just barely see the blue streaks in there. And I'm glad I went ahead and carved some trees in it, because the blue streaks don't show up too good. But this is Graffito Works. Graffito means to scratch in Italian. And sgraffito is putting a colored slip or underglaze over the raw clay and then carving through to reveal the clay underneath and to make designs. And this is on porcelain. One I've been waiting for also. So on one side it says, live your best life. On the other side it says how we all feel about cancer. Cancer has touched way too many lives. And we need to find a way to eradicate it. This is my amateurish attempt at carving a dragon. I could have gone thicker with the underglaze. Another coat would have done well on that red. But I think it's pretty cool overall. I like the little design I did at the bottom. That turned out well. I could have done the same thing at the top. That might have been a nice touch. You see what I did around the bottom there? And my signature. And the last two pieces are a set. This one says, I would spend 9 lives with you. And then has our kitties on the other side. And they go with the teapot. On porcelain. My handle kind of curved a little bit. This one says, together forever. Bad puns, I know, it's genetic. And our kitties. And on porcelain. So these will go to Brendan and Becca for their anniversary. And they are moving into a new home. So I'm happy for them. I left Virginia. And I miss them. But anyway, here's our cone pack. Good solid cone 6 on the bottom, maybe a little bit over. And you can see how that cone 7 is just starting to bend. But again, when you make your own cone packs like this, it's hard to get them exactly at the 5-degree angle. So they help to diagnose, but they're not 100% foolproof. Anyway, folks, I hope you have a great Easter, Passover, Sunday, whatever it is that you're celebrating today, but celebrate life. Enjoy it. We never know what our last day is going to be, so live every day like it's your last. Love every day like it's your best. So y'all stay centered and keep chasing your dreams. Bye-bye.